I am going to tell you something that goes against almost every piece of money advice you have ever heard. And I need you to trust me, because the last 2 times we talked, I told you to save. I told you to build your first $10,000. I told you to invest it and let it grow. And all of that was true. All of that was the foundation. But today, I have to tell you the other half. The half that almost nobody says out loud. And here it is. You cannot save your way to wealth. I mean it. You can save your way to safe. You can save your way to comfortable. You can save your way to, I no longer panic when the car makes a noise. And those things matter enormously. But saving alone, no matter how disciplined you are, no matter how many coffees you skip, no matter how carefully you clip every coupon, saving alone will never, ever make you rich. And the reason why is hidden inside one simple, brutal piece of math that almost nobody stops to think about. Once you see it, you will understand why some people grind and pinch and sacrifice for their entire lives and still end up just okay, and why other people seem to break through to a completely different level. It is not luck. It is not even talent most of the time. It is that they understood the thing I am about to show you. I am Sprout. I started as a single coin, and I have told you that twice now. But here is a part of the story I have not told you yet. A coin that only ever tries to protect itself. A coin that just hides in the dark, terrified of being spent. That coin stays small forever. To actually grow, I had to learn to do something that felt scary. Today, I will show you what it was. Let's grow. So let's start with that brutal piece of math, the ceiling. Here is the problem with saving, stated as plainly as I can. Saving money has a hard limit, a floor you cannot go below. Think about it. You have certain expenses you simply cannot escape. You have to live somewhere. You have to eat. You have to keep the lights on, get to work, stay alive. Let's call all of that your survival floor. Now, you can absolutely cut your spending. We talked about this. You can attack the big 3, housing, transport, food, and open up a real gap. That is good, and you should do it. But notice something. There is a bottom to how far you can cut. You cannot spend less than 0. You cannot pay negative rent. At some point, you hit your survival floor, and you physically cannot squeeze out another single dollar, no matter how hard you try, no matter how much willpower you have. So, saving is a game with a ceiling. The absolute best you can ever do is save 100% of the gap between your income and your survival floor. And that's it. That is the maximum. Game over. You have hit the wall. Now, here is the other side, and this is where it gets exciting. Earning money has no ceiling. None. There is no upper limit on how much you can earn. You can double your income. You can triple it. You can 10 times it over a lifetime. There is no law of nature, no wall, no floor, nothing stopping your income from growing, except your own beliefs about what is possible. So look at what we have. On one side, saving, a lever with a hard, low ceiling. On the other side, earning, a lever with no ceiling at all, that can grow forever. And here is the tragic, almost comical thing about how most people behave. They pour all of their energy, all of their stress, all of their attention into the lever that is capped. And they almost completely ignore the lever that is unlimited. They will spend an hour driving to 3 different stores to save $4 on groceries. But they will not spend that same hour learning a skill that could raise their income by thousands. They obsess over the pennies they can save and ignore the fortune they could earn. They are squeezing a stone that has no more water in it while standing next to a river. So why does everyone do this? Why do we all instinctively grab the capped lever and ignore the unlimited one? Because saving feels safe, and earning more feels scary. Cutting a coffee is completely in your control. You decide, you do it, done. But raising your income means asking for something, or building something, or putting yourself out there and maybe failing. It means risk. It means the possibility of hearing the word no. And our brains are wired to avoid that feeling at almost any cost. So we retreat to the thing we can control completely, pinching pennies. And we call it being responsible. But a lot of the time, honestly, it is just hiding. It is choosing the small, safe, capped move, because the big, scary, unlimited move makes our stomach hurt. And on top of all that, most of us were raised on defense. Save your money, don't waste it, be careful. A penny saved is a penny earned. Every bit of that was about protecting what you already have. Almost nobody grows up being taught how to grow what comes in. So we become experts at defense and total beginners at offense. And then we wonder why we feel stuck. It is not your fault that nobody taught you the other half. But now you know it exists. And that changes everything. Let me put a number on it so it really hits. Imagine you get incredibly good at saving, heroically good. You cut and optimize until you are saving, let's say, an extra $200 a month. That is genuinely impressive. That is hard. But now imagine instead you spent that energy becoming better at what you do, or building a skill, and you earned a raise or a side income that brought in an extra $1,000 a month. Same human being, same amount of effort and focus, just pointed in a different direction. One path frees up 200, the other brings in 1,000. 5 times the result. And the earning path keeps growing every year after that, while the saving path is already scraping the floor. That is the ceiling. That is why saving alone will keep you stuck. Now let me show you what to do about it, because here is the truth. You do not actually choose between saving and earning. That is a trap. Wealth is not built on one engine. It is built on 2. And you need both of them running at the same time. Let me give them names. The first engine is defense. Defense is everything we have already talked about. It is the gap. It is keeping more than you spend. It is not letting your money leak out the bottom of a bucket full of holes. Defense protects what you have. Defense is what keeps you from going backward. The second engine is offense. Offense is growing what comes in. It is raising your income. It is building skills that are worth more. It is earning a raise, starting a side income, creating something people will pay for, getting better and more valuable over time. Offense is what moves you forward. And let me make offense less abstract, because I do not want it to just sound like a nice word. Growing your income almost always comes down to a small handful of real, doable paths. 1. You become more valuable at the job you already have. You learn a skill. You take on harder work. You become the person they cannot afford to lose, and you use that to earn a raise or move to a better-paying role. 2. You sell a skill on the side, something you can do that other people will pay for. Writing, design, fixing things, teaching, editing, building, anything. It starts tiny, a few $100s, and it grows. 3. You build something that earns even when you are not actively working on it. But that is the advanced move, and it usually grows out of the first 2 anyway. Now notice something about all 3. None of them require you to be a genius. None of them require luck. They require you to become a little more valuable to other people over time, and to not be shy about getting paid for it. That is all offense really is, becoming worth more and asking to be paid for it. We are going to break down each of these paths in its own video, step by step. But the mindset shift starts right now. Stop asking only, how do I spend less? Start also asking, how do I become worth more? And here is the key that almost everyone misses. You need both engines, because each one without the other is broken. Defense without offense? That is the person who saves heroically but never grows their income. They are careful, disciplined, frugal for 40 years, and they end up comfortable but stuck, safe but never free. They squeezed the capped lever as hard as it could be squeezed, and the ceiling was the ceiling. That is the best case for pure defense, comfortable and stuck. But offense without defense? Oh, that one is even more dangerous, and we have met this person already. Remember Alex from our very first talk? The high earner who spent everything? Alex is pure offense, zero defense. Alex earns a fortune and keeps none of it, because every extra dollar that comes in flows straight back out into a bigger lifestyle. Alex makes a ton of money and is still one bad month from disaster. Offense without defense is just being broke at a higher and higher price point forever. So the wealthy, the genuinely, durably wealthy, not the people who just look rich. They run both engines at once. They grow their income aggressively, and they keep the gap. And then they take that growing gap and they feed it into the force we talked about last time: investing, compounding. So now watch what happens. This is the most beautiful part. Their income grows, so the gap grows. The bigger gap gets invested. The investments start earning on their own, throwing off money that gets reinvested, so it compounds. And that frees up more, which gets invested again. Earn more, keep the gap, invest the difference, let it compound, repeat. It becomes a flywheel. A wheel that, once you get it spinning, starts spinning faster and faster, more and more on its own, until one day your money is making more money than your job does. That is the moment everything changes. That is the moment you stop trading your hours for dollars, and your dollars start working harder than you ever could. Let me show you that flywheel with real numbers for a second, so it is not just a pretty word. Say you start by earning an extra $500 a month from a new skill or a small side income. Good. Now, instead of upgrading your lifestyle with it, you keep the gap and you invest that $500 a month into the force from last video. A few years pass, your skill has grown, so now you are earning an extra $1,000 a month instead of $500. You invest that too, and meanwhile, the money you already invested has been quietly compounding in the background, and it has started to throw off returns of its own. So now there is money coming in that you did not earn at any job at all. The investments are paying you, so you reinvest that on top of your own contributions. Earn more, keep the gap, invest the difference, and now the investments start pushing the wheel alongside you. Each turn, more forces are shoving it forward. Your raise pushes it, your side income pushes it, and eventually, your investments push it harder than your paycheck does. That is a flywheel. It is heavy and slow at the start, and you push, and it barely moves. But once it is truly spinning, it wants to keep spinning. And one day you look up and realize it is carrying you instead of you carrying it. Defense keeps you in the game. Offense grows the pile. Investing sets it free. You need all three. But the one that almost everyone is missing, the one nobody is working on, is offense. Growing what comes in. So that is where your attention needs to go. And now we have arrived at the twist, the part that, once you really get it, will change how you spend not just your money, but your time and your energy. So lean in, because this one is counterintuitive, and it is important. Here it is. There is a point where being frugal becomes the thing that is keeping you poor. I know. After 2 videos of me telling you to save, That sounds insane, but stay with me, because there is a difference between being smart with money and being trapped by a scarcity mindset. And most people never learn to tell the two apart. Let me show you the trap. Picture a person who spends 2 full hours on a Saturday driving around town, going to different stores, clipping coupons, comparing prices, all to save, let's say, $12 on their shopping. They feel great about it. They feel responsible. They feel like a good, careful person with money. But step back and look at what really happened. They just sold 2 hours of their life for $6 an hour. That is what they did. They valued their own time at $6 an hour. And meanwhile, what could those 2 hours have become if they had pointed them at the unlimited lever instead? 2 hours of learning a skill, 2 hours of building something, 2 hours of improving at the thing that could earn them a raise or start an income stream worth thousands. They were so busy guarding pennies that they handed away the hours that could have been worth a fortune. This is the frugality trap. Frugality is a fantastic tool, but the moment it becomes your whole identity, the moment saving money becomes the only money skill you ever practice, it quietly caps your entire life. Because you can only ever play defense. You never build the muscle that has no ceiling. And here is the part that will really mess with your head. Sometimes the richest, smartest move you can make is to spend money. On purpose. To spend it on the things that increase what you can earn. A course that teaches you a valuable skill. A tool that lets you do better work. A book. A coach. Sometimes paying for help so that your time is freed up to do the high-value thing. The poor mindset asks, how can I spend as little as possible? The wealthy mindset asks a completely different question. It asks, how can I use this money to earn even more money back? Do you see the difference? One is about shrinking, the other is about growing. And here is the deepest version of this idea, the one that took me the longest to understand as a little coin. Your real currency is not money. It is time. Money you can always get more of. There is no ceiling, remember? But time? Time is the one thing you can never earn back. Every hour is gone forever the moment you spend it. So when you trade 2 hours of your life to save $12, you are spending the one truly limited resource you have to protect a tiny scrap of the one resource that is actually unlimited. That is backwards. That is the trap in its purest form. The wealthy understand this in their bones. They guard their time like it is precious because it is, and they are often happy to spend money to protect it, to buy back hours, so they can aim those hours at the things that grow. The trapped mindset does the exact opposite. It spends its precious, limited time to save its replaceable, unlimited money. Once you see that backwards trade for what it really is, you cannot unsee it, and you start guarding your hours the way you used to guard your pennies. And you cannot shrink your way to growth. You cannot starve a plant into getting bigger. At some point, and I learned this the hard way as a little coin hiding in the dark, at some point you have to stop only protecting yourself and start investing in yourself. You have to risk a little water and a little sunlight to actually grow. That is the thing I had to learn. The coin that only hides stays a coin forever. The coin that is willing to plant itself becomes a forest. And yes, it is scary. Betting on yourself always is. When you spend money or time to grow your own value, there is no guarantee it pays off. The coupon, at least, is certain. You know you saved the $12. Investing in yourself is uncertain. You might learn the skill and have it take a while to pay off. You might ask for the raise and hear no the first time. That uncertainty is exactly why most people never do it, and exactly why the ones who do pull so far ahead. Because here is the truth about that fear. It never fully goes away, and you do not need it to. You just need to act despite it, in small steps, again and again. The first time is the hardest. Then it gets easier. The coin does not become a forest in one dramatic leap. It grows one leaf at a time, one small, brave choice at a time. So you do not need to be fearless. You just need to plant one seed this week. Now, please do not take this the wrong way. I am not telling you to suddenly start spending wildly and call it investing in yourself. That is just Alex with a fancy excuse. The gap still matters. Defense still matters. You do not abandon it. What I am saying is this: stop pouring all of your energy into the capped lever. Take some of that energy, that focus, that worry, those Saturday hours, and aim it at the lever with no ceiling. Aim it at becoming more valuable. Aim it at earning more, because that is the lever that actually breaks you out of comfortable and into free. So let me give you your move. Like always, something you can actually do, not just a nice feeling to forget by tomorrow. Step 1. This week, do an audit. But not just of your money, of your time. Where are your hours actually going? And be honest, how much of your energy right now is spent guarding pennies on the capped lever versus growing dollars on the unlimited one? For most people, the answer is uncomfortable. It is almost all defense and almost no offense. Just noticing that is the first step. Step 2. Pick one income lever, just one, to start. It might be a skill you can build that makes you more valuable at your job. It might be asking for the raise you have been too scared to ask for. It might be the beginning of a side income doing something people will pay for. You do not need 10 ideas. You need one, and you need to start. We are going to make entire videos breaking down exactly how to do each of these, so do not worry about having it all figured out. Just choose your one lever. Step 3. Protect the gap as you grow. This is the part that ties everything together. As your income rises, and it will, do not let your lifestyle rise to swallow it. This is the single most important habit of everyone who actually gets wealthy. When the extra money comes in, you keep living mostly the same, and you funnel the difference straight into the force. You invest it. You let it compound. You feed the flywheel. Earn more, but keep the gap, and invest the difference. Say it with me, because this is the whole formula. Earn more, keep the gap, invest the difference. Let me bring it all together now. Save to survive, earn to thrive, invest to be free. That is the whole map in 6 words. Defense keeps you alive in the game. Offense grows your pile past the ceiling that traps everyone who only plays it safe. And investing takes that growing pile and sets it free, so that one day your money outworks you. You need all 3, but the one the world forgets to tell you about, the one nobody is working on, is offense. Growing what comes in, the lever with no ceiling. So if you have been doing everything right, saving carefully, pinching pennies, being responsible, and you still feel stuck, still feel like no matter how careful you are not really getting ahead, it is probably not because you are doing defense wrong. It is because you have been playing a one-engine game. You have been squeezing a lever that was always going to hit a wall. And the answer is not to squeeze harder. The answer is to finally start the second engine. You are not a coin that has to hide in the dark forever, protecting itself, staying small. You are a seed. And seeds are not meant to be guarded. They are meant to be planted and watered and grown into something far bigger than they started as. So plant yourself, bet a little on you, and let's grow. But I have to be honest with you because I always will be. There is a force working against you in all of this, quietly, constantly, and it has been there the whole time, draining your gap before you even notice it is gone. It is not in the market. It is not some big mistake you can see coming. It is small, and it is sneaky, and it is sitting in your wallet right now. In the next video, I am going to draw out, piece by piece, exactly how the credit card trap is built, how an entire industry engineered a little rectangle of plastic to keep millions of people paying and paying and paying forever, and most of them have no idea it is even happening. I'm going to show you the trap from the inside so you can finally step out of it. This might be the most important video I make for your defense. Do not miss it. I'm Sprout. You just found your second engine. I will see you in the next one.